Hello and welcome everybody to the Buy Round interview show. Today we are joined by, I think, the biggest guest that we've ever had.
Comfy chairs, these Jammer. Gone all out here, mate.
These were sourced by producer Charlie, so...
Very good job, producer Charlie.
Yeah, none other than George Burgess. We're going to get into the ranking of the Burgess brothers a little bit later on, perhaps, but I've got you up near the top.
Number one.
And we've got...
One in your hearts.
we got... I'm looking forward to talking about where things are at now and what your plans for the future are, but just going to go back a little bit first and talk about you breaking my heart with South. And also a little bit about growing up and the move for you to come to Australia. But growing up in Yorkshire, versus here, very different experience. I know you've lived here now for probably all or at least most of your adult life.
Yeah.
But take us back there. What was it like growing up in the house with three? With these three brothers, I imagine it was carnage.
Yeah, it was great. We had such a great upbringing. West Yorkshire, little Liversidge, little town near Dewsbury, Leeds, and it was a very boisterous household, as you can imagine. We used to drive my mum crazy. I think my dad loved it though, having four big lads. They always obviously liked the rugby and like getting physical. Always playing knee rugby. As soon as mum and dad would look away and breaking stuff all the time. It was always me and Sam versus Luke and Tom. I can't remember what the score is standing at the minute, but yeah, we still keeping score after all this.
Still got the tally going.
Yeah.
A little bit too on knee rugby, great game.
Knee rugby, yeah.
Carpet burns.
Carpet burns all over
when
the
you
knees
try a bit too hard.
And elbows. And broken a few lamps here and there, but yeah, it was good times. We just had such a great upbringing. It revolved around rugby on the weekends. School during the week. Dad was a builder, mum was a teacher, so it meant we had time off in school holidays to go on some great holidays together. We'd pack up the car, go to France. Mum could speak French and Dad could speak a little bit, and we just used to go camping and 6 weeks holidays, and felt like the cycle that we had for a lot of years there, and it was really, really blessed to have that sort of upbringing. Yeah.
Well, when things got broke, was there a sticky handle policy? No, it was me that broke the lamp, or was it?
Oh, it was just.
It was one of the.
It was
wasn't
just the
me.
twins. The twins. Blame it on the twins.
Yeah.
And
well, it only happened because they pushed me.
Yeah. And we used to get smacked on the ass. Pretty hard by the old man. And cop it, yeah.
What was the most treasured item that you disfigured or broke?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think we just smashed a mirror, which was not good. And just the clean-up job wasn't done very well, so there might have been one or two shards in someone's foot.
Oh, no way. That is schoolboy error. If you're trying to cover up your tracks, don't leave a bit of broken glass on the floor.
But yeah, always good fun, and good times.
So I'm just going to ask you this straight out. Why are you better than Tom?
Mate, I don't believe I'm better than Tom, but...
It's not what you were saying earlier.
Nah, mate, it's just, we're on different paths. He's obviously showed the longevity and his body's held up pretty well. So he's, most capped forward for South Sydney. He's pretty impressive to say that. I remember the phone call, was trying to get him over here in 2000. I was in hospital actually, 2012. I was like, he was looking at signing at Wigan at the time. He had Radlinski in his ear. And I said, he got a way less offer at South. I said, you just got to come, take the chance. And he did. And, he wasn't playing first grade straight away. They were, and he was pretty angry about that because he was lined up for a spot in Wigan's first team straight away. So I think they won the comp that year as well, 2013.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we all played together that year in 2013, and we had such a good year. We were really unlucky not to make the grand final, and I think the next year obviously was unbelievable. And those 2 years, 13 and 14, when we all played together, were really special. Looking back now, Sam obviously went and played rugby union that 2015 and messed it up, and Luke got sacked for being an idiot. Went to Manly. So yeah, we always thought it would last longer than what it did, especially in 13 when we started playing together. Like, oh, we could do this for 10 years, and then it just sort of stopped all of a sudden. I think when Sam came back after his stint in rugby union, we had a little taste of it again. But with Luke not being there, it just wasn't the same. But yeah, we had some good memories at South Sydney, and it's good to see Tommy still flying the flag for the Burjo.
Yeah,
and he's just showed unbelievable longevity, like getting through that amount of games, playing for England every year back to back, and it's pretty impressive. I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, and you should be. I know it started out as a bit of a joke, but just picking up on a few of the things you said there, I think it's an important message to just remember, like, enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're there and you're thinking, oh, we could do this forever, and that's great, but it's so important to enjoy the moment, because it's the future hasn't been written, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Like through misfortune, luck, unluck, it's
true.
It's and it's not until that moment has passed you by that perhaps you don't look back and go like, wow, that was special. It was like the best time of your life. Like, it
definitely was. We're all just young and single and doing well, and it was playing together and having spag bowl together the night before a game, and it was just, we spent so much time together, and you just take it for granted. Now we're all just like on our different paths at the minute, and it's hard to just get us together, the four of us. I think we're catching up today for the first time in a while, so it's nice, and I think it's something that we need to get back to doing, because it's that connection that we need, and that drives us and powers us, I think.
Yeah, it is difficult though, isn't it? Like, that's it. Life takes you on different journeys in different directions,
and it just goes so quick. Like, geez, I remember people saying to me, just start planning for when you retire. And I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. And then just bang, you're done. You've retired, and it's like, geez, that was quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
if only I'd have listened. And you know what, mate? The worst thing, well, not the worst thing, but no doubt we'll have these same conversations with the next generation, the generation after that. And
it's hard to find a way to really drive that home, to be honest, because it's just that, I don't know. I'm still trying to work out how I can get that message across.
Yeah, it is difficult. Like, and it's difficult, because you put yourself in their shoes. It's difficult for people to comprehend and people to understand. It's like, well, no,
so many things like change when you retire. Just like my whole relationship with training is just completely flipped, and I went into a bit of a bad place after I retired, because I was just got into the habit of, when I'm at home, I'm resting, and it was like my rest place, and I've got to get resting. So when I get back to training, I'm ready to go. So it was like it became a default setting for me, and like I had to snap out of that and realize that I have to keep training regularly to feel good, just mentally.
Yeah.
So I just I fell into a bit of a slump there and became a bit lazy, and now I've just sort of get back into a rhythm and a routine again. And my relationship with training has changed from, having to do it for the team and for winning purposes, now just basically for me, just to feel good, and my mental health be good, and it's just a nice feeling. And I think it's actually healthy for a lot of players to try to figure that out before they retire. That they got to have that balance in how they move around and stuff, I believe.
Yeah. I really agree with you, mate. I think when I was still playing, I kind of thought, once the boots are up, my days at the gym are over.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All my days running are over. And we're both currently in training for that run over in Leeds. But it's the benefits of running and exercise for your mental health, physical health, all markers of well-being. I believe are just so vital. That connection that you have with people at the gym or people that you run with, it's just, and even that, like you go for a run and I just can't be bothered here. And now especially that, we don't get paid to be there, or there's so I've been on this run and I'm thinking, if I just stop now, I don't have a coach yelling at me. I don't have my coach being like asking me questions, going like, what, you're not stopping. What do you mean you're stopping? All right, we'll go. It's you've still got this mental thing to be like, I'm just going to push through this, and then that has positive effects in other walks of life as well, I believe. Yeah,
definitely. It's crazy, like how you say that. I've felt the same. Like it's like I've got that inner voice still telling me, you better keep going because you don't want to like miss your time or whatever. You don't want to say, why didn't you make that time? And it's like, I'm gonna say, I can actually just listen to my body now. And respect it a little bit, because it has taken some knocks over the years, and you have to listen to your body. And it's been nice just to do that and regenerate a little bit. And my body's feeling as better than it ever has done. I suppose not doing the NRL training and pushing it to the absolute limit that the body can take. So,
it does wear on you, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
It really does. But mate, it's so funny. I find it fascinating that internal dialogue, that battle that you have, where you're like, I could stop here. I could stop. Like, why don't I stop? But then you keep pushing. But what I guess it was kind of there while we were training, like being involved in professional sport, but you just had to shut it up because you knew the consequences of tapping, and you knew the consequences of giving up. And it was all geared towards, you want to be the best possible player, but I don't know. I'm not trying to be the best possible marathon runner. I'm just trying to be.
I'm happy if I just get under 6 hour cut off time.
Like it's.
And feel good,
Yeah, it's it's being the best version of yourself, I think, is what drives it, and understanding and knowing the benefits that it's going to be hard, it's going to be undesirable, but it's good to do difficult things.
Yeah, the only reason I'm doing it, is because of the cause, and I don't know if I would do it if it wasn't for Rob and for that. The fact that they're dedicating the whole Leeds Marathon to the cause, and something that's really close to me, So that's what's that'll drive me on the day. I think when it gets hard, I'm probably not thinking about it as much in the training, but on the day when it gets a bit tough, I'll be thinking about that for sure.
Yeah. Hey, just going back, I missed this before. Do you think there's something about the area of the north of England that produces good rugby league forwards? What is it about that? Like, there's been a lot of northern lads. Obviously, it's a northern-based sport, but particularly the forwards that come over here and excel. Is there anything that springs to mind for you?
I think it's the pedigree of that tough working class bloke who's we used to be miners. We've tradies over there and used to working hard, and it's just the area. I think it's a tough old town, tough old area, and they've bred them tough for a lot of years. I think the men there, and I suppose it translates through to the rugby and the style of play that the game's evolved in that part of town in the north of England. Just in general, you see it. See it in Wigan and in Lancashire and Saints as well. So it's just it's a northern thing for me. The southern fairies and no, but it's I suppose we like the game over here because it's intense and it's a high level version of the game, and the fact that everyone loves it so much over here, it was such a surprise for me. Coming from the north, where you're always just trying to sell the game to people.
Yeah.
Like you're like always trying to push the game on people, and over here it's like you can't. They just love it, you know. They just can't get enough of it, and
it's good. And you know, some people view that as a negative. I think that's great. Like the game should be dominating the papers. Like there is a cost to that, but it, you know, the game should be the first news story on Fox Sports or Sky Sports News and the leading headlines.
I took 2 American people to the game on Friday night. First time NRL game they've ever watched, and they were just like blown away by the physicality of it. They were saying this is illegal, you know, like like how you know, brutal it is, and just the athleticism. And I just think if we could find a way to showcase it properly to the Americas, it's going to be so good for the game, because they love this sport, and just that was a top flight game to go to, like South Roosters at the new stadium. You know, the production was just unbelievable, and if we can find a way to market it, I think it's going to be a massive future for the game over there. Just imagine America being a powerhouse in the sport in 20 years' time, you know. That's
it. It's long-term vision. Well, I know they're looking to push to 20 teams, so I think it's a case of watch this space. Obviously, the project in the Wolfpack, the Toronto Wolfpack, it didn't get any help from the Super League, and then COVID ruined it. So I think that's something that that was
a bit of bad timing. I think the way forward is going, making their own competition within America, and building that up to be really strong first, and then I think having a crossover competition is not the way to go with the travel and stuff. And but yeah, there's definitely a future there. Just the fans would love it.
Yeah. It's a great game, isn't it, mate? And it should be marketed.
Yeah,
better.
We're actually working on it. Got a script going at the minute that we're working on. It's called The League. It's just called League, and it tells the story of rugby league and the origin story. You know, it starts off in Huddersfield at the pub where rugby league was separated from the Northern Union, separated from rugby union, and it explains the whole story, and then it fast forwards in time to you know, a story where we come into a country rugby league town, and you know, American has to come over and play in this town, and it just shows that environment, and it explains the game of rugby league perfectly to the American public, and that's something we've been trying to get off the ground and get going. It's a great script.
Who are you doing that with?
He's a guy over in America. I can't reveal his name, but he's from Aurora Valley, and it's just funny enough where Russell's from. So
it's interesting. That.
Yeah. So we've been speaking to some guys at the NRL just to try and get it off the ground, but yeah, it's definitely an exciting project. I think would help a lot with you know, growing the game in America.
Yeah. Well, before we've gone around the world, go back to Bradford. And you leaving there, you jumped ship like everybody else, like Bateman, like Whitehead, Price, Peacock,
sinking ship,
all the Burges. Like it's those Bradford Bulls fans that I feel sorry for. But mate, you know, it was strange. You didn't actually play in the Super League before you came over, did you? So
yeah, it was weird because I struggled a lot when Sam left to Australia, because Sam was a big part of my life, I suppose, after losing my dad, and I felt like Sam was my big role model in my life, and I followed him a lot. And when he moved to Australia, I was pretty heartbroken. I never showed it or never sort of told him about it. I just like sat with it, and you know, I played that year at Bradford, and it was a good opportunity for me to get around a full-time environment, and I was training with Bradford full-time and playing in the under-20s, and I had a pretty good year, but I was just sort of missing that connection, you know, with my brother. And I remember I got picked in an England schoolboys team, and I skipped a camp to go and have a holiday in Australia with Sam. And at the time, everyone thought I was crazy because I was pretty much giving up my spot, you know, in this England schoolboys team. And I didn't care. I was just coming over to see Sam. I surprised him, and he was really surprised when I got here because he thought, and he was a bit angry because he knew that I'd skipped this camp, England camp. But you know, it was meant to be, because on that trip, you know, I met up with Russell and Shane Richardson, the CEO, and they offered both me and Tom the contract on the spot, you know, and it was a part-time contract at the time. And I always said yes. I was willing to come part-time and work, just any chance to get over here and be around the environment, be around Sammy again and learn off him, and, you know, just get over here basically. And so I said yes. I'd agreed pretty much terms, and I was on the flight back to England. And as I'm getting to the Manchester airport, I get a call saying that someone had pulled out of the England squad, and I was getting recalled back into the England schoolboys. I think it was Olsi Krasniqi. Remember, he played for London Broncos.
Yeah.
He pulled out, and so I got called back in for these 2 tests against Australian schoolboys. And yeah, so I go straight into this camp with them, and they end up being like my 2 best games to date, you know, like up to that point. And we beat Aussie schoolboys 2 games in a row. And after that, like, Tom had decided not to come. I decided to sign, but they upped my contract to a full-time deal. And I was just like, it was all just falling into place, you know. So I got an up deal. I was training full-time with South, and I didn't have to work. And that was just a big turning point for me, I think. Like, getting that chance to train full-time, and, you know, that following year Madge came in, and I was just, pre-season went to a whole new level. I was 19 at the time, and just willing to do every bit of work that I could possibly do. So yeah, it's just crazy how things work out. You know, got to take a leap of faith sometimes. Definitely learned that as an 18-year-old lad. Just follow your heart a little bit.
Yeah, well, it must have been a big move, because, you know, well, it's a big move anyway. But when you think you've got a twin brother there that you left, but obviously you've got your other brother here. That's a big move, but a big culture shock as well. And it's not usually the path that people go down, in terms of, it's, you know, if you're a British player, English player, you get some first grade experience under your belt there, and then come.
Yeah.
But was it? I'm assuming it was a big culture shock from, you know, Dewsbury to Sydney.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was an adventurous young guy, so I couldn't wait to move countries, move out of home. I know I was living at home before I moved here, so moved from Robert Town in Liversedge to King's Cross in Sydney at 18 years old. I was just like, "Wow, this is great." I remember Chris Feather picked me up from the airport, and you just turn off the motorway at the Eastern Distributor and come up that William Street, and there's the big Coke sign. I was like, "Geez, this is where I live," you know, and this is where I'm going to be playing my trade and playing football. Is pretty unbelievable. So I just I was in my element, you know, kid in a candy store pretty much, and I just loved it. I would train my ass off and worked as hard as I could. I was there in the first there and the last to leave most days as a young kid. And that first year with John Lang was great. It was a great bit of development. I spent most of the year playing out at North Sydney, and you know, I'd go train all day with South, and then I'd go and train with North Sydney in the evening, and just do like every session that I could. And that just built this foundation for me, you know, this work that I put in. And you know, when Madge came around and we had some really solid pre-seasons, it was just like, now I'm ready, you know. And they held me back from playing that first year. And I was really eager to play, but looking back, I was 18, 19 years old, you know. But I think it set me up for that next year. I played 3 games, and then I had that stomach issue where I had to pull out. But I got back, and I suppose that 2012, end of 2012 pre-season was like my big sort of breakthrough.
Yeah. Do you think going back that work ethic of first in, last to go, you know, turning up to North Sydney Bears, was part of the motivation to be, you had to prove yourself on your own. You come with a surname.
Yeah.
And, mate, if Sam's not there, you still go on to be one of the best front rowers in the game and carve out a magnificent career. And you knew that, but did you feel a bit of extra pressure to prove and show that?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had it in me because I just had this belief, and a lot of it did come from Sam telling me that, you know, I could do it, and you know, my family just believed in me, and at the same time I just didn't want to let anyone down, so I just couldn't not do every session that I was available to me, you know, and then go and do extra stuff. And, you know, 18, 19 years old, your body can withstand a lot. So, but it's probably paying for it now. But yeah, I was just sort of so eager, and it's a good way to be, I suppose, in anything in life. You know, even it taught me a lot about work ethic, and I'm looking at taking that into this new part of my life now, in the new career. So it's something that you don't forget how to do, and it always stays with you, I suppose, which is something really valuable that I've learned for my life, I suppose.
It's stayed with you. Yeah, and it does stay with you, and it'll stay with you for as long as you live. Mate, like you say, that those tough pre-seasons, they do take a toll on you, but it set you up for a huge year in 14. Obviously, then Tom comes over. Luke's there as well. Yeah. You know, and you were, I think, the best prop in the game at that point in time. Like, you were devastating. Winning that 14 grand final. Obviously, I was on the other end of it. Excuse me, but I was, you know, pleased for some mates of mine that I'd got to know and got to play with for a few years over there in England. Just can you explain, just if possible, just what that? It's massive to win a championship in any in any year or with any group, but to do it with, you know, your brothers must have been I don't even know. How do you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, we were just so laser focused, especially from that previous year, you know, missing out against Manly. We were 40-0 up against Manly in the prelim, and we let it go. So it's like anything less than a grand final the next year was a big failure, I think. So I think that was just driving us so much. And you know, there was the outside pressure of the fans, and it had been 43 years since South had won a premiership, and there was just this euphoria around the club, which was great. I sort of didn't see it as a pressure. It was like, it was exciting because we knew how much it would mean to everyone if we did go and get it and get the 21st premiership. And so yeah, that was just like, just driving us, and to be doing it all with my brothers was just a dream come true. And yeah, I was just like pinching myself at some stages throughout that year. And I remember just that captain's running out at Redfern Oval, like they get day before the grand final, and just being packed out at Redfern and seeing how much it meant to the fans just to be in a grand final week, never mind winning it. That just pushed me a little bit even more just that night before the game. And yeah, I just remember feeling like it was our day. And you know, the Bulldogs, you guys had just done an amazing job to get there as well. You know, I think you'd come from seventh, which was unbelievable. So, but yeah, we knew it was going to be hard. I think a lot of people thought we'd roll through you a lot easier, like especially At the start of the game, it was just such a tough first half, and I was a little bit worried. But I suppose it wasn't until like that last 10 minutes where we started scoring points, and but yeah, it was such. I've watched that game back so many times, and like such an intense game, you know.
We looking back, like we had to be so desperate to start that game for our own mistakes, but
if everyone was playing at your effort, mate, you'd have smashed us.
I don't know about that. But
yeah,
mate,
it was an unbelievable game, and to get over the line was a dream come true. I was just like, couldn't believe it. First time, never played in a grand final, even in the juniors, you know, coming through ever. So first ever grand final was an NRL grand final, and to score a try, I was just like, how can I top this ever, you know?
Well, it could have been topped.
What's that?
So at the end of the game,
what's that?
They're announcing the Clive Churchill winner.
Oh, mate, Sammy was always going to win it. You're playing a grand final with a broken cheekbone.
Come on.
No,
mate, at the end of that game, Clive Churchill, Burgess, G.
Mate, I'll take that. To be honest, it's nice because a lot of people do say that, and it's just nice to be acknowledged. Anyway, I'm not too fussed whether I got it or not. It was just I'm just happy to get a ring. Yeah, Sammy deserved it. He had an unbelievable.
He did have an unbelievable year, but I think and obviously the circumstance. But mate, I know you're not going to admit, but I think you played better than him, and I think he knows that. I think
it's hanging up in the Blind Rabbit at the minute up at Russell's, so it's in a good place.
Should just take it.
I've worn it. I've worn it a few times when we've had a few drinks in the pub. I said this was supposed to be mine, you know.
You robbed it, Burgess.
Yeah, Russell's not.
I mean, well, you're not. Yeah,
Russell's not a big fan when I do that. He likes it to stay up on the wall and doesn't like fingerprints on it and stuff. But he's yeah, it looks good up there, so I'm pretty happy that he's got that pride of place up there.
Yeah, mate, still should have been yours. And I want you to say that, like, you robbed me, Sam.
Kelvin Fletcher's actually worn it as well in the bar before.
Mate, you know what would be great? A charity boxing match. Sorry, not a charity boxing match. A boxing match between you and Sam, and the winner gets the Clive Churchill. No limit boxing. Here we come.
No headshots.
No headshots.
Got to look after the money maker, mate. Just had the nose fixed. So
I did think it looked
better.
Looks better.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a big job to completely straighten it, but
yeah,
at least I can breathe properly now.
That used to be my way of telling you and Tom apart. The nose.
Yeah, I mean, it's still got a little bit of a deviation, but I can breathe well, and it's changed. It's been life changing, I think, for me, because I only got it done in December. And
what was actually wrong with it?
Oh, it was just completely. I had 5% breathing capacity through my nose. So
what? So
I used to snore when I was awake, and big mouth breather. So I mean, it would affect your training.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but I've just felt it now. Like as I'm doing the marathon training and running, I feel like I'm able to regulate my breathing a lot better because I can breathe through my nose.
Read the book, Breathe?
No.
Or Breath?
No.
It talks about the importance of nasal breathing.
Yeah. So I'm trying to retrain my body to nasal breathe again. So, but yeah, it's pretty unreal. Like I'm sleeping so much better.
Yeah.
Waking up in the morning, not foggy, and just like it's great.
How big was the procedure?
It's pretty
because the nose is like a tent, isn't it? So, but it had bent and then it had it caved in as well.
Yeah. So there's jagged bone sticking out on the inside, and then the cartilage that makes up your nose is all messed up. So they had to pretty much take it all out, all the cartilage out, and find just one little straight bit and put it back in. So I was, luckily they didn't have to take any cartilage out of my rib, because that would have been an option if they couldn't find a piece. But he said right at the end they found like just this one piece that they could put back in. But yeah, it was very painful. It was 2 weeks of hell.
Or after the surgery.
Yeah. And you got these stents in your nose, which are just so uncomfortable, and you can't wait to get them out afterwards. But yeah, it was a big relief to get it done because it's something I always wanted to do. So I had the septoplasty and the rhinoplasty done. But yeah, I always thought you couldn't get it done until you finished playing. But I just spoke to Connor Watson on the weekend at the Rabbitohs game, and he's just had a septoplasty done, and he's still playing. So
he's out for a little while. He's out for most of the year though, so maybe that's why.
Yeah,
he's not going to be involved in contact training for a bit.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, that's the thing. Just finding that time off is pretty hard.
Yeah, and so you got the. I used to tear you apart from your nose.
Yeah,
and your hair. So yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. So you know when you were doing your because you used to have the skinhead, and you've grown Tom's hair now.
Oh yeah,
right? Because I call that Tom's hair.
Tom's hair.
So you know when you
I had the long hair for a bit. That was easy.
Yes, that was easy. But then you were making your the debut for Dragons in a trial against Parramatta, and I saw Sam there, and no joke, so you were playing.
Yeah.
I said to him, I goes, tell you what, George looks a lot like Tom, you know, doesn't he?
It's amazing, isn't it?
And he looked at me and he was like, are you messing? I was like, no, because like he's growing his hair, and he's like,
mate, you'd be amazed how many people say it.
Jammer, they are twins.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I know that, but like,
he's like, but people are used to being able to tell us. Like, I know what you mean, but it's crazy how many people say that to us, and that's always my answer. Like, yeah, we are identical twins. Not just twins, but identical twins.
Yeah. No, oh, really? We look like each other. Yeah. But I fell into that trap, and Sam looked at me as if like, I think he thought I was high.
When we're like the same weight, the same haircut, both shaven or both got a beard, it's like we're pretty hard to tell. But at the minute, it's pretty easy because I'm probably 10 kilos heavier than him. You know, he's a bit fitter than me at the minute because he's playing NRL. So it's quite easy to tell. But I'd probably still beat him in a wrestle. Yeah.
Mate, this is freaking me out. Right, bend your nose back.
Nah.
Grow or
I'm gonna grow my hair. I'm gonna grow my hair out like I used to.
That'll be great for everyone around the rugby league.
Locks going for. I'm an out of work actor, so just got to have the beard and the long hair. That's the usual protocol for out of work actor.
Yeah. Mate, obviously that I'm assuming that's the pinnacle of your career. You had fantastic win against St Helens in the World Cup Challenge as well. Which I think doesn't get enough credit. You know, to go over there and win the World Cup Challenge is huge. Obviously, they came here and beat Penrith. I think that should be.
That was amazing.
Should be celebrated more than what it is, and there should be more recognition for that. It's that was huge.
Well, yeah, I mean, that pre-season was just like crazy. I think the boys had 4 weeks off. I mean, we went to play for England, didn't we? And it was over here, but most of the boys had like 4 weeks off, which these days would be, the RLPA would be going crazy about that. They went straight to a high altitude camp in Arizona, and you know, it was just like, in my opinion, I think it was too much, too soon. But you know, it meant we were humming by. You know, we went and played the Nines. We won the Nines. You know, I played in that, and then we beat I think we won everything in that pre-season, and then we went straight over to England, and you know, we were just in such a good spot. But I think we probably peaked a bit early. Yeah. In that year, and it showed a little bit. We were definitely burnt out towards the end of the year, and you know, we bowed out of the finals pretty quickly. But yeah, that pre-season was just like. So full on, like going to the Nines, and I was getting needles put in my heel to play in the Nines grand final, and it was just like carrying that for the first. You know, I was carried that into the World Cup Challenge, still getting needles and stuff like that. So it's just like,
what, into your Achilles?
No, into my heel pad, my fat pad under my foot. So I had an incident in a game where my stud came up through my boot and went into my heel and bruised it really badly. So it was just like I couldn't step on my foot without it hurting. So I was getting local.
Oh, the local in there.
Put straight into my bottom of my foot.
Oh.
It was just so pain because it's just like a tough area to put a needle in. But yeah, I was just like, what am I doing? You know, I'm needling myself for a pre-season tournament.
No, it's tournament. No.
But that's just like what the club was like at the time. We were just like anything to win, and you know we got results. But I think it comes back to bite you a little bit in the end when you don't think about the big picture of the year.
Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit of the toll on the body, but then you leave Souths. How was it when you were leaving?
Oh, it was heartbreaking, to be honest. 2019, you know, I'd had a really good year in 2018. I was loving life, loving my football. Loved playing under Siebes. Anthony Siebold was one of my favourite coaches. Just the way he was very personal with his players, and he got me. He really understood me more than any other coach I've ever had. So it was great, you know, and I was a bit good when he left. Even though I was really excited to work under Wayne, I just got on so well with Siebes, and I actually thought about going up to Brisbane with him, but you know, I just felt I had that loyalty to Souths, and even to the point where I got offered, you know, big deal to go play at Parramatta. It was a 3-year, $800,000 deal, and I was coming to the back end of my career. Pretty much, I was 27, but it was really good money, and I turned it down because Wayne said he wanted me in his team, and he wanted me. I was off contract at Souths, and you know, they were pretty confident that they were going to re-sign me if I started playing some good games. But obviously that year was the same year I got a 9-match suspension, and all the deals went off the table. So it was it sort of came crashing down on my NRL career, which was a really sad way for me to sort of bow out. You know, it wasn't great. I think I struggled a lot mentally with that year, and you know, given all that, I got the 9-match suspension. I fought really hard to get back, and I got back in the starting team for the first week of the finals against the Roosters. And I fitness wasn't there, match fitness, whatever, and you know, I ended up getting dropped for the prelim against Canberra, and it was my 150th last game for the club. And Wayne tells me before captain's run that I wasn't playing, and that just sort of really broke me a little bit. You know, couldn't finish the session. You know, I left midway through the session. I was just like so emotional, and I went into the changing rooms. Said I was going to the toilet, and I was just in floods of tears. You know, and it was the day before the game. I was still 18th man, but it was just like all just came flushing forward. Like my whole career at South was ending in this moment, and I wasn't even getting the chance to go and take the field. And we lost the game, and I was just like completely gutted. Went on a 4-day, bender, and just wrote myself off. And I was just in such a bad place going into that England Super League contract, with Wigan. I just had a really, bad mental state, I think, and probably not going into that contract as best of a state mentally as I could have done, and probably showed in my performances over there, and then my body started just falling apart basically. So yeah, it was just, I think that was took its toll on me definitely, that last year at South, and still something that I regret deeply. Just getting that suspension, I think, was the start of it all. I mean, the first one came in the England games when we played New Zealand, and then so I missed the start of the year. But then the second one was like, all right, he's definitely doing it this time, because it's happened twice. So he's given him a 9-game ban. So it was like, yeah, it's just a lot to deal with.
Yeah,
and the media just absolutely ruthless, tear shreds off you, and just make you out to be a villain. and anyone who knows me like knows that I'm not like that sort of person, and that was just hard to deal with as well, I suppose. People thinking that you're this dirty player who's eye gouging people was a lot to deal with, and us. But yeah, it's probably spiraled a bit from there.
Yeah, you know, when you had that, did you know you were leaving South at the end of it? I did,
yeah. I'd signed with Wigan whilst I was suspended, because pretty much no NRL club was going near me, and I'd come to the terms with the fact that, yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to go play Super League, and Wigan was a great opportunity. You know, it was a good club, and it was a good contract, but I just probably I wasn't ready for it, you know, mentally. I think I was just still in this bad place, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I did sign it, and I knew it was my last game. So it was just a sad way to leave, but
yeah,
would have been nice to come back to South, but you know, I've got no regrets.
No,
maybe a few.
Well, mate, I mean,
Too few to mention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you were going through that mental turmoil, did you get any professional help?
No.
You think you should have?
Oh, definitely. You know, definitely. I sat on it for so long,
yeah,
and it manifested in different ways. You know, I dealt with it through drinking and drugs and gambling, and you know, all those things were left untreated for such a long time, and that's what ultimately led me to, you know, using it as coping mechanisms. And I was doing it in England and doing it when I got back, and then whenever anything ever went wrong in my life, that's what I would turn to rather than seeking help. And you know, it was just such an unhealthy way to be. And
yeah,
you know, I did finally get some help in the end, which was great, and I'm still getting help, and still on the road to recovery with all that stuff, which is positive. It's all positive, and you know, hopefully can affect other people to get help as well. You know, players like, you know, see Liam Knight, he came out and he's gone public about his journey and stuff, and you know, maybe he wouldn't have gone to his place if I didn't go to it first, you know. And so it's just like, you know, I helped him a little bit with that, and now he's helping me. So we're still on the journey together, and you know, we're definitely never cured, as they say, but you just got to keep reaching out and keep connecting and stuff. So I'm in a good place at the minute. I'm on a new path. I'm in a new mindset, and I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm heading, and just got to keep on top of myself, I suppose. Yeah,
mate, it's something that I look back and think I should have got the support I needed at different moments in life. But I guess when you're in that footballing bubble, like, you can't see the wood for the trees sometimes, can you? And just
that's exactly
behaviour's normalised, and you're just like, well, I don't know.
You just you think to yourself, oh, I've got this. I've got this. I'm freaking out a bit internally, but I've got this, and I can work it out. You know, I'll work it out. But it gets to the point where you don't work it out, and then you think, oh, maybe I should have just spoken to someone. But it's just that first connection is just so hard to make, and yeah, I just don't know where we can make that easier and more seamless, I suppose. But there's a lot that the clubs do now that they didn't do 10 years ago in that space, which is great. You know, the fact that people are coming out now, like Liam and myself, and you know, we're making it okay, and that we can talk about things, and removing that stigma that's around, and it's been around for like the entirety of rugby league. So, and not just rugby league, men in general, sport in general. It's been around for far too long. So I think we're definitely taking steps, but there's still a long way to go with helping people speak about how they're feeling, speak about their emotions, being able to be above their emotions and see them for what they are and acknowledge them as, you know, respectful things that you can't ignore, but then not letting those emotions take over you and dictate what your actions are and stuff like that. It's important just like us now talking is great. You know, it's just that dialogue that you need to have on a regular basis, and you know, I'm making it a priority that I connect with my brothers on a regular basis, connect with my friends, and you know, people, good positive influences around me. Because I'm still at a tricky point in my life where I'm still transitioning from being an NRL player to you know, wanting to be an actor, and you know, this is a different landscape as well, which also has its temptations, and you know, it's easy. You can easily be led down a bad path in this industry as well. So you've got to be aware of it and make good choices, I suppose.
Yeah, and just having the attitude to, like, that switch of mindset of like, nah, I got this, to like, I need to get help. And I think it's important, like I say this to anyone when I speak to them about mental health, and it's important that the listeners and viewers pick this up, that just because it's bad now doesn't mean it needs to be bad tomorrow or next week. Like, things can get better, and they will, and it's not an escalator up. There's good, bad, but you know, the path is to a more positive one. It doesn't need to get worse. You can always make positive action, and that part of that positive action, the first step is the recognition of help, and even those that are around you. I mean, sometimes a little bit of tough love can, like, I know I felt that, where it's like, nah, you're getting this help because but
and you don't know how many other people have been through what you're going through, and it's crazy, like how much someone would, you know, hold to themselves. So you reaching out to someone and asking for help, you don't even have to call it help. It's just connecting, because people think, oh, I don't want help, but it's just about connecting, and you connecting with someone is going to be positive for them as well, and help them. So it's just great, like, it's just connection, you know, and we don't connect enough as a human race. I think we're not.
Well, we speak in. Well, we communicate on our devices now, don't we? It's not.
Yeah, and this
normal. We should. Well, a lot of people on the social channels, they basically showcase the top 0.01% of their life and how great it is, and you know, when people can fall into that trap of like, oh, life, everyone else's life seems so exciting, so great, all the time. It's like, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, we're losing the art of communication, I suppose, through getting lost in our devices and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Mate,
well, I want to talk to you about the pain that you were in. With your hip.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbearable towards the end. Like, I was having days where I was driving to training, and I was like, felt like driving the fucking car off the bridge some days, you know, because that was, how am I going to get through this? You know, like, that's where I was at some points in my career, like when I was at Wigan. And just to think like that is just crazy. Like, that chronic pain was doing that to my brain, you know. So yeah, it was just like unbelievable. And I was going to retire there and then, you know. Like, I was like, this isn't worth it. And I heard about the surgery. You know, you had surgery as well, and there's a few guys getting it done in England by this surgeon who had got back to play. Sean O'Brien was one. He played for the Lions, and there's another guy, Jack McGrath. He played for the Lions, Irish fella, and we actually had the surgery done on the same day. And you know, it was hope. It was just a bit of hope that I could get back and maybe play. But I'd pretty much come to the point where I'm going to retire after this surgery. You know, because I'd finished my contract with Wigan, I'd come to a deal with them that I was going to leave. But I suppose it was like the shock of when I woke up from surgery and that pain that I'd had for a good 6 years in my hip was just gone. You know, it was replaced with the surgical pain, obviously, but that pain that I had was just so like chronic, you know, and I'd forgotten how bad it was until it was taken away. And I was just like so emotional, you know, like the surgeon came in and he moved my leg up past where it had been able to go for years. And it was like this emotional like barrier just came flooding out of me, and I was just in tears. And, you know, I think from there I was like, oh, you know, I think I could do it still. And I think I could get back and play because this pain's gone that's just been crippling me. And I just had this new energy and this new lease on life. And I spoke to a few people back here, you know, Peter Gentle being one of them at the Dragons, and he put me in touch with Hook, and you know, they give me a chance. You know, South weren't willing to take that chance. I think they were full up on the cap. So, and you know, it was a new opportunity just to live outside of Sydney and you know, be at a different club and just get my training and my rehab done properly. That was a big, even if I was never going to play, I thought if I'm doing my rehab with a physio, NRL physio, it's going to be the best thing for my hip. But I know I got to a point where I felt really good. You know, I was, you know, but even so, the game has changed so much in that 3-year period of me being away. Like the 6 again rule had come in, making big guys like us extinct. Endangered species over 120 kilos, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, I got fit again, and I made my debut round 2 against Penrith, and I felt great, you know. And suppose things happened after that, which derailed me again, and you know, sent me off the rails a bit again. But you know, even through that, I got back in the team, got started in the Anzac game clash against the Roosters at SCG, and we won that game, and I'm like, you know, I'm back again. I felt like I was back after that game. And I'm starting front row in the NRL, and we just beat the Roosters on their home turf on Anzac Day. And that was like a big achievement for me. I felt like I'd climbed this mountain to get back from a hip surgery, you know. And the following game, I did my ankle, and that was pretty much the end of it for me. And the coach decided that I was past it, and I wasn't up to the training anymore. After, you know, I've just showed that I can get back and play, but you know, that was it. And we decided to part ways, and then I think after that it was like I'd put so much energy into getting back and getting fit again that I was like, I'm not doing it again, you know. And I'm not doing it with a coach who doesn't believe in me. If I'm going to do it, I want someone to have complete faith in me, and just like I have in myself. So I had an opportunity to go on a movie that October, and the end of the shoot coincided with the start of the pre-season for the Dragons. So that was like the big thing for me. I was like, I'm gonna give it away, and I'm gonna go into this new life of trying to be an actor and learning my trade, and starting from zero again, ground zero, as in a profession, you know, which has such a high ceiling, I think. So it's exciting for me, and it's something that I've set off on now, and it's a journey that I'm just starting. So I'm just in the infancy of it, which is really exciting. So yeah, I suppose, where did we go from? We went from pain. Yeah, the pain's led me to a lot of different places, and I've learnt to live with pain, emotional pain, physical pain, which has been a sort of grounding, I suppose, as well. It's definitely made me a bit tougher, I think, a bit more resilient than I might have been otherwise. So yeah, I'm feeling like I've got some some tools and some ammo for me to go into this next period of life now. And yeah, it's definitely been an experience, this life as an NRL player, and going through the things that I've been through has definitely led me to this point where now I feel like I can push forward and be what I want to be.
Well, I think, like you say, mate, you viewed it as like climbing this mountain, and perhaps the top of that mountain was getting back to playing the NRL and play and win against the Roosters on home turf. That's a huge victory, and okay, it might not have taken you back to the heights that you'd have daydreamed about playing multiple seasons, winning a grand final, but it was a mountain that you conquered, and you conquered it. You beat yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, like that. I think there's so many benefits, indirect benefits from coming back from that versus not coming back from that. So, like, you reckon if you could,
I would have never known.
You'd never known that you could have got through that, and that's gonna give you, you're gonna reap rewards from that.
Yeah.
Further on down the track, because that's life. It doesn't always go the way that you planned, and you'd be naive to think that it's going to go to plan in the future. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, but you go back to that. Okay, well, remember that day before the day before your surgery, and then the day after, and then, mate, I know what it's like sitting in that bed after that hip surgery, and then you've just gone, I've got this.
Yeah.
So there's so many benefits, mate, that you could have tapped. You could have tapped a lot sooner than what you did.
Yeah, no, it was a big journey. Like that 8 month from when I got out of surgery to playing again was just such a crazy journey, and it taught me a lot. In between that, I moved house a couple of times, moved countries with 3 young kids. It was just like, it was a lot. So yeah, definitely taught me a lot about resilience. Yeah.
You know, just before we finish up on the football career, but how did you manage the pain? Like I'd have a lot of painkillers. Yeah.
Before training, in my car, before I'd get out of my car in the car park, that's where I'd usually pop them, and that'd get me through. And I'd just have to do a lot of prep work before I'd get on the field. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't the healthiest way to live and train, but that's what I knew I sort of had to do something about it.
That was the sort of price of entry.
Yeah, and I would drink as well. And I'd drink alcohol after games a lot, and it's got to the point where I'd do it during the week sometimes, and that didn't help, but it sometimes helped with the pain, and the mental pain as well.
The psychological factor of like, you want to just get out of this reality for a moment. Yeah,
but the chronic pain definitely led me into the addiction. I think it's just the whole body trauma experience. I think that is all connected. And yeah, it's definitely, you take away that pain, but the damage is still there sometimes from it. You take away the issue that was causing the pain, but there's still the residue left over from that trauma, I suppose. It's not just the physical trauma that pain causes, it's a mental thing as well. And it takes a long time to recover from that.
And overcome it, and sort of be at peace as well with a few things. Mate, I think you did climb that mountain. You really did.
I was the first player to ever play rugby league with a metal hip, and that was pretty cool. There've been a couple of rugby union players, but it's totally different workload, especially in the front row. And I was pretty proud of that. Most of the people, surgeons and doctors, said that it wouldn't and couldn't be done. So that was a cool thing to achieve. Yeah. And got back and played, and I played my 150th NRL game, which was an achievement on my debut for the Dragons. So that was something that I missed out on, you know, in that last game, and to finally tick that off in my first game for the Dragons was cool. You know, I had a cool jersey with the debut and 150th on the same day, so it was cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's special. And to go out, I suppose my last proper game was that sold out stadium at SCG, so
yeah,
can't really complain.
No, well, mate, you had an amazing career and you lived the dream. You enjoyed the dream. I know how much football meant to you.
Yeah.
But then retirement comes and this new life. So how was it when you first retired?
Yeah.
And where does it look like you'll go to the future?
Yeah, well, I suppose I've been trying to get pulled away from rugby for a long time. For me, it started at the end of 2018 when I got that first suspension, and Wayne Bennett came in as a coach, and he was always big on having an interest outside of football, as you'd probably know.
Yeah.
And so my interest was the arts and acting and performing and drama, and I've always had that from a young age, even though I was a bit shy about it as a teenager, but it definitely came back, I suppose, after I had my kids, and you lose a little bit of inhibition and self-consciousness. So I suppose that start of that year, I was missing the first 3 rounds of the year, and I was saying to Wayne, you know, do you mind if I go off and do this stuff? And, you know, I got into theatre, and I did two theatre shows at the start of 2019, and it just really lit that spark for me. You know, I was doing acting classes most nights during the week, not most nights, like weekly, you know, during the season, just around the corner actually, and it was great. And I was doing little weekend courses at NIDA and Screenwise. I did an 8-week course at Screenwise, screen acting course, and I was just loving it, you know. And I suppose when I got that other 9-game suspension, it was like another sign that I had to put all my time. It was like a good distraction as well. You know, I did another movie here at Fox Studios called Rising Wolf, where I played a big angry Russian guy called Sergei, and so I just loved it.
They wouldn't typecast you, would they, into that role, into those sorts of roles?
Definitely, yeah. I played a big Russian. This is very good. No, it was good, and that was a good experience, you know, as well. 2 weeks on a set, and I was doing all this whilst I was playing, which was invaluable, like really valuable experience. And I suppose it was always just in the back of my mind that when I finish playing, I'm going to give this my best shot. You know, I'm going to give it a red hot crack. I'm going to put all my effort into it. And because I was getting these little gigs here and there whilst I was still contracted, which was amazing. But the real good stuff came like from committing like 6 weeks to a project, or, you know, 3 months to doing this, or getting some real training in there. And yeah, I suppose as it got close to my retirement, I had a few chats here with Russell, and you know, he's been really good, and he's agreed to sort of take me on and mentor me, and such a great person to have in my corner. And, you know, what he's achieved in the industry is you know, he's been right to the top of the game. So if I can learn off someone like that, it's going to put me in good stead for my career. And, you know, this year is about me doing time with Russell and just really thinking about the process of everything and what it takes to do what he does and to do what an actor does. So it's this year is a big learning thing for me, and it's like a tertiary education, so to speak. I'm learning about accents. I'm learning about stunt work and everything really, just physically of being in a role. And so it's really exciting, and I'm just sort of looking at doing some travelling around with Russell and just learning off the great man himself. So he's been awesome. You know, for me, when I first moved to South, you know, lost my dad when I was young, and he was sort of like that older father figure for me, always sending me nice texts and just checking in on me and stuff like that. And he's been great through this tough period when I've retired, and he's really taken me under his wing a little bit, and he wants to help me, and he sees that I've I've got a real passion for it, and he knows that I want to succeed and be the best I can be. So yeah, it's exciting to have someone like that in my corner, and I suppose we'll see where this year goes, and next year, after getting a few credits under my belt with Russell, I'll probably look at getting an agent and going from there, and I suppose then it's down to me to kick on, and but yeah, I'm pretty confident that I can do it. You know, I've put in the same amount of work ethic that I've done, or if not more. You know, because I've learned more. I've learned more lessons now. I'm more experienced with everything, so I think I can definitely take it on and give my best and carve my name deep, I suppose, as we say. Not in the game of rugby league, but in the acting world, and yeah. Yeah,
maybe the league's just a springboard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've been acting as a rugby league player for a long time, so it's put me in good stead for acting, being a proper actor. So yeah, it's exciting.
Is there any roles that you I don't know that you wouldn't do? Like, is there a specific genre?
There's not much I wouldn't do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think as long as I'm...
What ones if they said to you, right, we need you to drop to 90 kilos? You know, like actors have to beef up or trim down.
I mean, I'd love to try drop 40 kilos, but I don't know what that looks like.
I'll start a whip round. We'll sort some movie, but you've just got to get to 90. I reckon that'd be hilarious.
Do you remember when I lost all that weight? And that was bad enough.
Well, it wasn't funny. But it wasn't.
I was 103, so that's pretty close.
You 103?
Close to 90.
Mate, you looked in a bad way.
Sunken in, like...
that was a stomach.
Yeah, that was my foot. After my first grade game, we played the Roosters, and we beat them like after scoring two or three tries in the last like 5 minutes. And when Dave Taylor did that pass off the kick-off.
Oh, yeah.
And Reynolds scored that try. Reynolds, take me now, I've seen it all. So that was the game where after we finished, I was in the sheds and I was at this unbelievable pain in my stomach. And I just like, it was unbearable. It was like a burning pain. And we got back to the juniors and I was just passed out on the elevator. And they took me to the hospital and they found out I had a perforated ulcer in my bowel, which was spewing out all this stuff, acid that breaks your food down. It was burning all my insides and 50% chance of dying. Yeah, 50% of people who get it die. So I was pretty lucky to survive that, to be honest. But what they have to do is they have to operate on your bowels. And when your bowels get operated on, they go into paralysis for a week. So you can't eat anything for a week. You have to be fed through a tube. And the weight just drops off you straight away. So I lost 15 kilos in a week. And I looked very, very ill.
I remember seeing you. It was
yeah,
quite confronting seeing you.
I know. I was like, I didn't realise because I was in a hospital bed. And then I think that when I realised was when I got home and I tried a pair of jeans on. It was like a 38-inch waist and it was just falling off me. And I think I went to a 32 waist in a week, which is amazing to see what the body can actually do.
Yeah. When
put under extreme duress, but I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, that sort of pain that I felt and the discomfort I went through for that time. But yeah, my mum was a bit worried. She flew over from England. And
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, I made it through. But I suppose that pushed me for the next year when we had a good pre-season and got back.
Is there anything else other than acting that you're passionate about?
Yeah, I'm doing singing lessons at the minute, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
So and I love singing, but I've got a natural talent for singing, but I'm just working on the musicality of it at the minute and like singing with music and notes, and it's quite complicated. You know, it's very technical, which is something I just never realised. You know, I just thought you hear a song and you sing it, but I'm just learning about the notes and everything now. And Russell's actually got a band, so he might end up giving me a start in his band if thinks I'm good enough, but
backup singer or
I don't know yet. I don't want to say anything about that. But, yeah, he's doing a tour later in the year around Europe, Italy and stuff. So that'd be cool if I got. But I've just got a lot of work to do with that at the minute. Now I've got a natural voice, but I just need to work on my control and stuff. So, but yeah, I'd love to do theatre one day. I'd like musical.
So theatre acting, like stage acting, or like, as opposed to movies.
I'd love to do musical theatre as well as movies. Yeah. I think it's just such a different concept. Like you get that immediate feedback from the crowd, like you would as a rugby player. You know, you feed off that energy of the crowd. Whereas when you're making a movie, you don't really know how it's going to be received until like the very end process when it's been, you know, put in the movies and stuff. So I do like that about theatre and musical theatre. You get that immediate reception.
Yeah, and it's the pressure of being live as well. Isn't it?
And I've done it it on a small scale with the Short and Sweet theatre company. We did like short 10-minute plays, but it's just such a buzz, you know, doing that in front of a crowd and getting that immediate laugh or you know, a cheer, and it's just good. No, good buzz. Yeah,
is that something like you think will grip you like football?
That's gives me that buzz, you know, that same thing that I got from playing, and I need that in my life to sort of kick on, you know, and feel good and be
like
happy.
Like something to really focus on.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just starting this journey, you know, and it's exciting because there's such an improvement there for me, like there was when I started at South, and I was such a raw, like young guy, young talent, but I was raw and I had a lot to learn. Where I feel like I'm the same with this. Like I've definitely got something there with it, but I just got to keep putting in the work every day, doing the singing lessons, doing the acting lessons still, and just keep working. And things are going to come my way if I do that, I think.
So you just keep putting yourself out there. Is there a plan in place? Have you got have you mapped it out? Like have you got certain goals or landmarks you want to tick off in a time frame? Is that how it is at the moment?
Yeah, I really want to do a big speaking role this year, and I've been cast in a movie, but it's just been moved to later in the year. It's like a UFC movie called The Beast in Me. So that's a big cast. You know, Russell's I think come on board, and Dan McPherson. So we've Brenton Thwaites as well, who's been in Pirates of the Caribbean. So we've got a really good cast, and it's a big speaking role. So that's something that I've wanted to do, and just something that I can really sink my teeth into, like with some dialogue, you know. Because I've had roles in movies, but it's been like a few lines here and there. But this is like really bit more meat to it, and see how I go with this. You know, this is going to be the first big test for me, and see if I'm up to it. I can either sink or swim, I think. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I think you'll swim if you apply yourself how you did your footballing career. Yeah.
So it's exciting.
It is exciting, mate. No, it genuinely is, and I think knowing a little bit about you and your personality type, you seem the all-in kind of guy, and you need that almost that singular focus to be like, well, this is what I'm all in at. And
because like right after I finished playing, I was offered this job to go and work on the mines, you know, and coach the local footy team in Helensburgh, and I was just like, is this what I want to do? No, it's not what I want to do. And it took me sort of being on that set with Russell, and you know, being around him every day and chatting to him about things, that I've got to put all my focus and all my energy into this, or else I'm going to be an out of work actor like 90% of actors out there, because that's the stats that comes with the industry, you know. And if you've got a backup plan, if you've got a plan B, you're probably going to end up using it. That's I've been told. So I think I've just got to go burn the boats, as they say. Yeah, that
I have heard that
burn
phrase.
the boats.
Burn the boats, we ain't coming back.
There's no coming back. So I'm doing that at the minute and just trying to make it so there's no plan B, and I'm just this is all in for me.
Yeah, nice. Well, mate, we have 3 questions for each and every guest that comes on this year. So
yes, hit me with them.
I hope you've done some preparation because I did send these to you.
I had a quick look at them, but I thought better keep them natural rather than script them too much.
All right, here we go. If rugby league football didn't exist or you hadn't have made it, what do you think you'd be doing?
Wow, yeah, I think I would have definitely gone to university, maybe like a art school or performing arts school. I think that was definitely my path. I was into arts, art as well, like drawing and stuff. So I would have definitely gone to that sort of school, I think.
Oh, you like to draw and stuff?
Yeah. Art was one of my favourite subjects in school.
Was it?
Yeah, painting and stuff. So yeah, I think
I didn't know that at school.
Yeah. Probably more so than PE.
Yeah, we used to do the school nativity play, but
yeah, I was in the lead roles.
Were you lead role in school nativity?
Yeah.
Joseph?
No, we did I did. I don't know if we did the nativity play, but I think we did one called The Evacuees, where we played like a war story.
Yeah.
Of how the children were evacuated during the war, and I played the dad, which was like the lead role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I seem to recall the nativity play in my primary school. I was I'd done something, so they banned me from doing it as some sort of punishment, and I was like, I don't care. It's not really a punishment to.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I would have been definitely an arty, farty sort of guy.
Yeah, just bouncing. Like, mate, you
probably moved to London,
mate.
Like
if
that.
you, I don't know if you managed to like keep your size, but like you going on like an art gallery tour, like, oh, this is my exhibition.
Yeah,
like the size you are, I reckon that would have
probably would have got a little moustache.
Oh, the old yeah.
Done a stint in Paris or something.
You probably touched on this already, but so for me, probably not too dissimilar to yourself, the decision to move to Australia versus stay was my biggest sliding doors moment. Can you pinpoint one in your life where you think, or you ever think about, I wonder what if? So probably that had the biggest change, but
yeah,
do you have any of those moments where you're like, I wonder what would have happened if?
Yeah, there's a few. There's definitely a few. But yeah, I suppose if I never came on holiday here, when I was 18, on the first off season with Bradford, that would have been. I had the choice to go in this camp. It's like a camp with England, or completely brush it and go on a holiday. And at the time, the right thing to do seemed to do the camp, but I just followed how I felt, and that was a sliding doors moment for me.
Yeah,
because it just the series of events which have followed that were just so pivotal in my life and my decisions. So yeah, I just don't know what probably would have been staying in England if I didn't do that.
Poor old Bradford Bulls, eh?
No, Bradford were sinking anyway, so might have gone to Leeds. Or
maybe,
something like that.
maybe if you and the rest of the lads had stayed, then they'd be back up there. But
Yeah, I mean,
I used to love that in England camp, ex Bradford Bulls.
yeah.
Like,
Oh mate, there's full of ex Bradford forwards in there. I think we had Bateman, Whitehead, Sam, me, Tom. I think at one point we were all in the England team.
yeah. It's like, basically the full pack was Bradford Bulls, ex Bradford Bulls players.
Yeah, who else did we have as well? I think we had another hooker in there as well. Paul McShane. Yeah. So he's. No, with Bradford, I get sad when I think about how they've fallen from what they were.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them come back from the dead one day. But
I used to enjoy going there as not so much as a player. I remember going there as a fan, actually, like as a spectator. St Helens, just great, and like that used to get really foggy. Wednesday, I remember going watching St Helens play them. Play Bradford on a Wednesday night. The Wednesday after the Challenge Cup final on the Saturday was down at Wembley, and then Saints put out the B team. But I remember the fog was insane.
For a while there, it was literally just Bradford, Wigan, Saints and Leeds. Yeah. The big four. They were just dominating the grand finals for ages. So yeah, it's sad, definitely sad to see Bradford dropping.
It's a reminder as well that, you know, enjoy the moment, because you know, when your club's firing, you should enjoy it, because you know you never know what could happen in the future. You know, a few bad decisions, business decisions, on-field decisions, signings go wrong, and then
someone definitely made a few cock-ups in the backroom staff, I think.
I think they did. Most interesting person that you've met along your magnificent journey in football, in life?
Mate, I've just been at I was just working at an event actually in Luna Park just recently, and I met Wim Hof, and that was pretty interesting guy to meet. You know, I took him to the Souths game as well on Friday night, and he loved it. And he's just like full of beans, man. I've never met someone so high on life, you know, ever. So he's pretty interested, and I've been doing his breath work and his cold therapy training, and it's pretty transformational. Like we did a breathwork session on Friday. Oh no, it was Thursday, sorry. And it was 1,000 people in the room doing all these breathwork sessions together, and the energy of it was crazy. Like I've done the breath holds before, but this time was just like unbelievable, like the collective energy of everyone. So yeah, to meet him was pretty cool, and he's got some pretty radical thought. You'd love to get him on your podcast one time. Yeah. He'd be awesome. I got his number, so we can maybe set up a Zoom. And
hi Wim.
Yeah,
how you doing?
He's just like he came onto the field after the game. I've got a picture of it because he grabbed Freddie Fittler. He's met him once before at a seminar or something, and he just must have recognised his face, and he just grabbed him and he starts shouting in his face like, "I can change the world, I can do this." And Freddie's like, you know, Freddie's an out there character himself, but even he was like, "Whoa, this guy's like
not now."
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun.
It is funny. Fascinating how that's become not mainstream, but
have you ever tried it?
Yeah. I do his breath work, and do different breathing exercises, and then I'm big on the cold as well. First thing in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Got outdoor shower, boom.
So good.
Whether it's rain, hail, or shine.
Yeah,
I love it. It's
he's definitely onto something.
He is, and you know what? It's even like I make no apologies for who I was. You know, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, if someone said, "Oh, we're going to teach you how to breathe." I said, "Fucking hell, mate, I've been doing it for 25 years. Yeah. Like, what are you going to teach me? In through my nose, out from my mouth."
Yeah. No, it's definitely
it's.
But the way I saw him, the way that he just captivated a crowd was pretty cool. You know, not many people can do that, and he's just got this energy about him. So yeah, he's definitely up there with one of the most interesting people I've met. He's a crazy Dutch guy, just wanting to change the world one thing at a time.
Yeah,
and it's pretty unique. You know, they've done brain scans on him, and he's just got like a brain like no other. Because he can access these different parts of his brain with his breathing. So it's, yeah.
For anyone out there that's not looked him up, he definitely worth checking out and just practicing. And
there's an 11-minute thing on YouTube you can do for beginners, and it's a good introduction. I definitely recommend it. And then he's got the app obviously that you can get amongst. But not trying to plug him.
No. But you know, the important thing is again that being okay with being uncomfortable, because it can be a bit like, oh, I want to take that breath, but just pushing through it.
Yeah,
that you push through that and you realize that what you're capable of.
Yeah,
like, I think that's sometimes like I'm sort of reading a bit of a book at the minute called The Comfort Crisis, and just how comfortable we are all the time.
Yeah,
all the time, just living in comfort.
Our bodies aren't made to be
comfortable.
Like we're made to get uncomfortable sometimes. Like we used to be in the wild, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely not good.
Yeah, all good. Well, George, I enjoyed the sit down and chat. It was learned a few things along the way.
Absolute pleasure. Man.
Yeah,
it's like old times. Didn't get a chance to talk about the England tours, but
no, maybe for another day.
Maybe for the next round of the bye round.
Yeah, when you're this A-lister, don't forget us.
I'll come back on after my next big movie, mate.
The new Bond.
Yes.
Or when you're singing
Bond, James Bond.
But mate, honestly, you had a fantastic career. I know there was some difficult moments there, but I would certainly focus on everything that you achieved, and those difficult moments will be beneficial later down the track. And
definitely,
you know, even that, mate, we didn't touch on that stomach injury that you had. Like most people tap after that.
Yeah.
Or the 50-50 chance of living. Yeah. Coming back from the hip issue, the mental health struggles that, you know, a lot of us face. You seem like you're in a really good spot right now, which I'm really pleased. You've got a great support network. Yeah. And thanks, mate, I've no doubt that this next chapter, you've got it. You're all in, and you'll actually absolutely smash it out of the park. It's been a pleasure to sit with the should have been 2014 Clark Churchill. I know you're going to admit it.
I'm going to go steal it from the blind rabbit.
All right, brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.